This transitions nicely into the conversation that we were talking about having, which was this epic Clubhouse call that went down this weekend. And actually, I thought that was one of the more interesting topics that got brought up. The act didn't really respond to that much, is that Meek Mil basically like accused Akademiks of being part of like a conspiracy to make 6ix9ine pop off. And I don't know. I thought that was an interesting thing for Meek to throw out there, and Act didn't really get into that so much.
Exactly.
But that was kind of interesting.
He kind of did, though.
Because, okay, when you're Akademiks, though, this is the whole thing. Did he ever get money from 6ix9ine or his label? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all if I found out that they did. But at the end of the day, too, like, he's running a business where he gets followers and he gets likes and he gets whatever from posting about shit that goes viral. And we all seen it a million times that when 6ix9ine would fucking fart or do anything, call somebody a bitch, whatever, it would always go viral. So for Akademiks to post that shit is the most self-evident thing ever. But, I mean, from Meek's perspective, and I do think that when he said, I immediately felt it for a second when he said, you posted about 6ix9ine laughing when King Von died. We posted that too. And I posted it in large part because I thought it made him look like a fucking idiot. But, I mean, there's a good point, I think, to be had there on Meek's part. Like, if your media company constantly puts a light on things that we all agree are bad, I mean, what does that really say about your media company, you know?
I feel that in total. And the only thing that I say makes what I was saying before, because it's no telling what type of people then came and seen Akademiks. I just watched a whole documentary on how the feds brought down La Costa Nostra, right? All of the big mob bosses at the top, the families, they never were anywhere that anybody could see anything, right? Feds go back and Rudy Giuliani and them are like, fuck it, let's change the rules. And they come up with the RICO law. And then that RICO law gives them the permission to do the foulest shit. Like, they fucking with your cable, so you call the cable dude. Now, the cable dude is a Fed putting a wire in your house. You get what I'm saying? Like, if they want to do some shit and rap seems like the easiest kill pond, it's like, if we are prosecutors, all we got to do is prosecute rappers. We fucking undefeated. You get what I'm saying? You got to look at what the competition and what the game is. And if you are not playing the game, but they are playing against you, you getting wiped. You getting wiped. And that's what a lot of shit is happening. It's like, we asking, why is Akademiks highlighting 6ix9ine shit so much? Why is Akademiks talking to Freddie the way he was talking, bro? Every time I seen that, I was like, that shit cops say to motherfuckers, they want you to react in a bar, or they see somebody they know this a street getting money dude from the neighborhood. We want to create some sort of like introduction. So undercover cops are be in the bar starting shit.
Right.
Just to get you to jump wrong, just so they people can catch you leaving the bar and flick you.
But I think that what you're saying about like why would Akademiks feel like it was okay to talk to Freddie like that, Akademiks' response to most of that seemed like he's responding to people who have said things about him. Because I remember how that Freddie shit started. It started because Act said that Freddie can't even sell as many records as Young Jeezy right now if they both were to drop or whatever, which, I mean, maybe objectively was true or whatever, but it did start with Akademiks just talking a little bit spicy about Freddie. I don't know if Freddie had ever said anything about him before that. Do you recall?
See, the thing is, and the way that I see it is that, you know, with somebody telling everybody that I'm not a street guy, I'm not like this, I'm not like that, everybody probably been like making jokes on a nigga for a long time. And as a man, where do you draw the line to where you have to defend yourself? Right. You know what I'm saying?
But in Akademiks' position, there's like a weird thing where rappers are pretty much usually given the pass for talking shit to a media personality, but then like the media personality gets judged like a civilian. Like you're not supposed to talk spicy. You're not supposed to act crazy. And I almost, to a certain point, I've realized that over time, is that if a rapper really has something negative to say about me, it usually doesn't really benefit me to act aggressive back. Because if I act aggressive back as a media guy, it just usually will get spun into me being an asshole or thinking I'm tough or whatever. Whereas I see it from rappers' perspective is that when they diss the media, it almost always goes over well. Like the fans are almost always behind them. If you're a rapper and you diss Akademiks, No Jumper, or Vlad, you're gonna get a shitload of retweets and you're not gonna get any real follow-up from that. You could diss Charlemagne. We've seen it a million times. Nobody really seems to hold that against anyone.
Here's the thing that you just said, Akademiks and then Vlad on the other side, right? We're discussing whether Akademiks' intentions are bad, right? On the other side of the Vlad shit, I tweeted out last week, like, I knew that shit was sus. Me and Mikey did a Vlad interview. The motherfucker wasn't even there. It was a laptop. I didn't see his face at all. I'm just hearing his voice. And I'm like, I don't got you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what I'm up to. I ain't got shit the police need to look at, no way. So it's like me talking about my album with somebody like Vlad doesn't bother me no more. But when I sit back and I see the questions he asks, motherfuckers I know that did some real shit in life, I'm like, bro, that shit is weird. Because the setup itself, if you knew like, all right, you know, I did a whole bunch of time and, you know, I'm about to do this little interview telling my story, and you walk in and that shit is creepier than a what's that shit where you gotta go see the judge and you gotta talk to them on the screen. Like, it's creepier than that. Or you getting sentenced and you looking at a screen. That's what that shit feels like if you into something that, you know what I'm saying, you don't want everybody to know about. You know what I'm saying? So that type of, you know, slight to those media guys is like, you know, yours is majority curiosity. You know, I've known you for a while. Like, shit you ask is just shit Adam would ask.
But like, there's that thin line though, because it's like if I interview, like I saw Vlad, you know, I feel like the kind of shit that he gets shit about, like not specifically, but like when he had the baby on, he did a really, really good job of getting him to sort of flesh out his situation with the Walmart and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, from my perspective, somebody has to do that. Like, that's not that has to, but if you're a fucking willing participant in the interview, because the baby easily could have said, I don't want to talk about it, you know? And I've had Vlad even tell me that he has had somebody on his staff call the sheriff's department or call the local police department or whatever it is to make sure that the person's case was closed before he asked the person about it, which I actually thought that was pretty smart, because that's not something that would have necessarily occurred to me. But I mean, it's a question as a person in the media, but the weird thing is that the media, or like the people at home, Vlad does an interview talking to somebody about their criminal shit and gets a couple million views, but then you'll also have 10,000 people retweeting something saying that Vlad's a cop. So it's like two things have to be true at the same time here, is that hating on that side of doing hip hop content is really popular, and that content is also really popular.
No,
like,
yeah,
people
it's a
clearly
double-edged
want
sword.
to know about that kind of shit.
And the thing is, for like Vlad interviewed me, right? And I was there and I was next to him, and the first thing that Vlad told me is, he says, whatever you don't want in this interview, let me know and I won't share it. You know what I'm saying? And even though the questions that he was asking me was kind of weird, like he asked me, I said, I got a little brother in prison. He's like, what's your little brother in prison for? And I could respond and say, well, he did this and bop, 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 bop. And if that comes out, that's really on me. And, you know, when he asked me that, I told him, I said, my brother's in jail for some alleged stuff, you know,
Right.
like some stuff. And I just left it like that. And that's like how I like how Pee Wee Longway went on there.
Nah,
like,
yeah.
you a Crip, right? He's like, nope. You know what I mean?
like the
Just
color blue.
Yeah.
I just like the color blue.
And the thing is, too, is like, if somebody comes over here and talks to you and they say something, you know what I'm saying? Like, it goes both ways. Yes, this nigga's asking the questions, but be smart enough to not incriminate yourself in nothing that you do. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
No, there's the thing when Lil Baby, when Vlad was asking Lil Baby about the fight Baby got into with Jill, and he was like, how you know he was a white dude? That was when I was like, yeah, how the fuck did you know? You don't get jail. There ain't no jail notes.
But
ain't no way you could just look up on the line and see.
That the baby or Lil Baby played that excellently, but when I asked Vlad about that, he said that Lil Baby had just told that story already in another interview or some shit, and that he had apparently just forgotten that he had said that it was a white guy or whatever. But I mean, like, that is like, yo, it's the shit about Vlad goes so viral so consistently, regardless of if it's true, because the whole Casanova thing has been like really, really blown up. But if you actually peep that Casanova interview, like, what are the most controversial or incriminating things he talked about? He talked about robbing a liquor store, which he got caught for and had already done time for. So that's why he felt comfortable talking about it. And then what was the other thing that he talked about? He talked about, there was some dumb shit. I forget. But he really didn't incriminate himself that much. Like, the shit that he got caught up for is not the shit that he was talking about on that interview. If anything, the thing that surprised me was that Casanova was in a gang that I had never even heard of before, that he had never really said by name in songs or in interviews and shit like that, since so many people say, I'm in this gang, and then they don't get fed cases for being in that gang.
But see, remember what I told you is, like, by default, if my gang does something and the feds build a case up around it, I'm going to get entangled into it off the rip. And even just having associated with guys in the section, That's how they put you in that shit. You could say, here, well, somebody could hit you up and say, yeah, I need some money for this or I need some money for that. They can use shit like that against you.
If we were aliens showing up on Earth right now, the fact that people so gleefully talk about their gang affiliations on songs and in interviews and then get Fed cases for literally being in those gangs, it would seem like the craziest thing on Earth that people just sort of incriminate themselves that easily.
I don't do it no more.
That's how cool being in a gang apparently is.
It's not cool.
Is that people are willing to risk their freedom just to have people know that they have that association.
We just live in a different time now. Like, with all these, with everybody getting targeted and stuff like that, like it's happening more frequently. Social media is just leaving a trail for the fucking police. You know what I mean? You just everybody's just leaving breadcrumbs. You know what I'm saying? Just, I mean, I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm about to say something about myself. Never mind.
No, it's to me, it seems like this was perfectly executed, and just the direction kind of music is taking. Even like street music, been street music, but it's way different than we was listening to Thug Motivation 101 or any of that shit. Like, it was still like content based or story based, or, you know, I was just listening to the past 3 days. I just took this one CD. I was listening to CD again, and it was Mr. Don't Play by Project Pat. And I was just like, man, this shit is deep. This, like, the whole album was deep as hell. And then I started to notice, like, you know, through time, the labels incentivize, like, you know what I'm saying? It's no telling how many times I got put on a street rapper, and as soon as I go to his Insta, he already is verified, and he's already got 600, 7,000 followers. Like, you know, it ain't no easy thing to get verified from Instagram. That shit ain't no, like, I know authors, I know video, like, movie directors that ain't been
But so much of
yet.
so much of that has to do not with the labels, but the fact that the labels don't really matter anymore. That you could be a kid who's not signed to a label and you make a song talking shit about your ops and basically like laying out who your side killed. Like a lot of those Brooklyn drill rappers, like one time I saw a compilation of like all the different poppin' Brooklyn drill rappers and who they beef with, and it just was like including like different lyrics that I would kind of look over because I don't know exactly who's beefing over whatever, but it's basically like straight up acknowledging that so-and-so got killed by my crew. And in a lot of ways, that's why that shit is doing millions of views, because it's like watching a fucking horror movie in real time. Like you're watching fucking murders play out via YouTube, via SoundCloud, whatever, but it's taking place and these people are documenting it for you, and a lot of times are ending up in jail for it or ending up killed for it.
And that's why I like how 21 said in the Clubhouse app was like, look, you can't just put the blame on just academics. It starts with all of us. We the ones that are glorifying, talking about smoking on packs of people. Like, these are real people. Like, people just make light of, oh, I'm smoking on this pack.
It's the same culture that was having a fucking laugh at Gucci saying the shit about Pookie Low.
Exactly.
Like 3 weeks ago. That was, I mean, you know, it's the same shit.
And that shit is crazy in itself. And you write about, like, you know, people like the dope they being sold. You know what I'm saying? They like it a lot. They complaining about it, but they like the dope they being sold. And it's making it easier for the authorities or the people against you to just prop you up real quick. And then everybody's satisfied because we prop you up. Everybody likes you, but they kind of want to see you fall. And as soon as you fall, they is as interested in you going down as they was on you getting up. So it's like,
move on.
Yeah, it's like, it's super microwaved right now. And it makes it dangerous for people that's, you know, you'll hear the story, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, do better for my family. But you know what I'm saying? Like, words are magic. And you put certain shit out and it comes back to you actually with interest and way quicker than it used to. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can be everywhere. Motherfuckers send your tag or send your location. That's the craziest shit I ever heard in my life.
Bro.
like nigga.
Bro, it's not.
Like, what
Address.
It's not even.
Remember Quavo? Address.
It's not even fair now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how I grew up and how things are now, it's like, my nigga, like, my little brother is in jail for having his cell phone in the scene of a crime. Like, they pinged his location from his cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, my nigga, every time you talk to somebody or you diss somebody or you do something, it's like they have that shit right there. You can't, even when you delete it, it's not gone. It's just going to a database.
The question is for somebody like you or you as well, I guess, like your content was, I guess, more like street or whatever, but imagine yourself coming up right now and all you got to do is talk shit about another neighborhood on the other side of town that you actually genuinely don't like and you and all your friends have a problem with, and somebody you know might have shot at them or whatever. All you got to do is lay those grievances out on a track, and you know that song that might have got, say you're just coming up and that song might have done 10,000 views on YouTube, and you know you could get 500,000, you know you can get 1 million. All you got to do is lay that shit out there, and yes, you're making it incredibly easy on the cops, but you also know that there's all these fucking kids aren't going to be able to look away.
Yes.
No, that's what happened with that Murder on My Mind song. I remember listening to that shit for the first time, and I'm like, I remember hearing it, and this was before Melly got locked up, and my brain works crazy, so I'm like, dog, this nigga did that shit. And I was like, oh no, bro. like that's why we like the hook so much, is because he had pain in his heart when he sang that shit. And then that was the song they pushed. Like, that shit had like 120 million views.
I would have never been able to believe that shit would do as big as it was. When I first heard it, I thought this is a hard ass, but it's like a street record. Like, I didn't think it was going to become what it fucking became.
Man, that's because it was true.
Yeah.
And it's like allegedly. But still, like, you ain't doing yourself no favors. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but see, that's why they say clout is a drug. It's like, that crack is bad, but there's crackheads out here. You know what I'm saying?
And clout, they still going.
And they still going. So clout is a new thing of that. And with me being a street artist, right? I'm like, let me be smart about a situation, because me not even saying nothing to nobody, I didn't have the police pull up on me and say weird shit to where I'm like, okay, yeah, they're on to me. Or I didn't have my phone tapped before. I remember my homie got arrested one time, and he came home. He was like, they got your grandma picture in the fucking bop, and they're asking me about this. So it's like,
your grandma's picture?
I swear to God.
The fuck?
And my phone was tapped for like a year before. But it's just like, when it comes down to your supposed enemies and stuff like that, I was taught to, we're not going to put that on air. We just don't ignore them niggas. They don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Because if you diss this nigga, now somebody from his side is going to have to say something to you. Now, you just gave them clout. This nigga may get a deal before you get a deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting, though, that you say that, because when I actually really think about it, in LA, it's not really that much of a culture of talking about who got killed and who's...
that shit real out here.
Yeah, because there's OGs. There's people that tell these kids, don't do that. I'm sure you probably had people around you, even when you were 20 years old, that would tell you, don't put that in a song because the cops are going to get on your ass. I think a lot of these kids in Chicago and Brooklyn and shit they're the first gangbanger in their family. Their dad wasn't a gangbanger. They're the first ones out here.
They don't have no big... And look at Chicago. Chicago is a bunch of young niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, me growing up in the streets, I have, like, you met Suicide. That's somebody when I was growing up who, you know what I'm saying, kept the neighborhood afloat. And before little homies would go do certain stuff, you would have to ask this nigga, and you know what I mean? And have to ask this nigga before you made any type of decisions. Because one decision that you make fucks us all up as a whole. And it's just like right now, like, one of my little homies can go do something right now, I'm directly affected by it, even though I have nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Then niggas is gunning for me now. And that has happened plenty of times where I'm out here somewhere minding my business, and they like, hey, this happened. Keep your head on a swivel. And I'm the fucking trophy for my neighborhood, so nigga, I'm public enemy number one. If one of my little homies do something and I have to guide them the right way, like, look, this is what we doing. Let's get some money. This is gangster, taking care of our families. All this other shit, starving and everything. This is the way to go.
And that shit I was saying about how there's just this insatiable urge for people to watch, violence play out in real time and stuff. And you think about Akademiks or like really a lot of these media companies, what are they good at? They're good at jumping between the people who want to see that shit and the people who are doing that shit. So that, because, if it was up to, 21 Savage, he would probably really like only communicate with those fans through his music and his own social media, but he's not going to put all the crazy ass shit out there necessarily. Somebody like his social media kind of acts to show, maybe not somebody necessarily like 21, he might kind of have his shit more on lock, but if somebody gets into a fight at a show, maybe some of those people, they don't put that shit on their social media, but people around them put it on their social media, and it's like, it's too hard for the kids at home, for most of them, to really like figure out exactly what's going on. Like somebody is always gonna be there to fill that void, because if you really are on YouTube, you realize that there's Akademiks, but then there's also like
There's
a million other kids who want to be Akademiks.
Yo, there's
Yes.
so many. Look, it's a whole bunch of YouTube shit because I get to the house, I play a lot of music on YouTube. Like if I'm cooking, or I just play one and let it run through. So I'm super proud of like where Detroit has came in the past 2 years and how everybody is slapping Detroit music and everybody, you know what I'm saying, really rock with the style that the Detroiters made. So it used to go from on YouTube from everybody just posting Detroit stuff to now like YouTubers getting in the middle of issues with people in the city and like taking their lives that they would have did, or somebody getting in an argument on live, which is the craziest shit I ever heard in my life. But two motherfuckers don't fuck with each other. Y'all FaceTiming each other.
He is.
That is insane. But you gotta understand that once you do that, that shit getting archived. And these people are going on YouTube and doing their dissertation of what they feel happened. Like, it's some shit going on where I know what the fuck happened, and I'm looking at 4 or 5 different stories of people tell you with 145,000 views what they thought happened, and saying that, oh yeah, they gonna get on them tonight. And I'm just like, bro, this shit
It's
this shit
different.
is really like,
talking like that and just been sitting there watching it and thinking like they're gonna kill this kid. Like this kid got 1 million views on this YouTube video, but somebody will shoot him for this if they get a chance, and if this kid doesn't sort of clean up his act over time. Because if you keep putting shit out there like this, they are going to kill you for this.
But once you do that, it's already gone. Like if one of my family members is dead and you talk about them in a song and it gains notoriety, it doesn't matter if 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years go down the line. I would never forgive you for that. And I know that's how other motherfuckers feel about the situation. So when you cross that threshold, it's all gloves is off after that. Like you can't come back and say, I'm a born again Christian now or something. Like, no, nigga, this shit is out here for the public to ridicule somebody that I love. Fuck
and
all
it's
that.
crazy because every single thing that we saying, your point is like somebody's gonna want to get in the middle to transcribe that for people. And the only thing I could think of is like, you're right. It's like motherfuckers want PS5s right now. I know people that are down to pay $3,000 for a PS5 without the games, the digital shit, just because they want it right now. So that hunger for just satisfying certain urges that you get, whether it be a media urge or whether it be, you know what I'm saying? People like to watch shit burn. And we just are in a culture now where we so desensitized to everything that we like, is that motherfucker on fire? I don't even want to see it.
You know what the thing I didn't like about the fucking Clubhouse thing is that it didn't feel like when they were coming at Act that they were necessarily coming with specific enough examples, because there is always going to be a media source, and the media source is always going to put stuff out there about rappers that they don't like. Like, if any one of us went to a fucking party tomorrow and if a fucking famous rapper punched me in the face, it's gonna be on Akademiks. It's gonna be on whatever platform, and it should be.
back.
Of course, it has to be, because why? Like, it's interesting enough that of course this has to. What'd you say?
I said, I'm punching Cub back.
Yeah, we're gonna beat him up, but we're gonna kill him.
No,
But
it's just funny how right you
ain't gonna kill him.
It's funny how right you are, because I definitely even like knowing you like I know you. If somebody posted hey, somebody knock Adam 22 out, before I even call you, I'm gonna be like, let me see what the fuck.
I would put it on my own Instagram, to be honest, just
I would
because
too.
you got to get in front of that shit. But what I'm saying is that that's the kind of thing that if Meek Mil gets into a fucking fight in the parking lot at a club, of course that's going to end up on Akademiks, because it kind of has to, because if it's not on there, it's going to be on every other fucking platform. That's just the kind of shit. If it's public shit that happened, it's going to be on there. I think the more interesting questions are kind of like the fringe cases. Like, for instance, I've been in the position before where a rapper got killed, and then there was a video of the homies of the dude who killed him in jail talking on his iPhone, making fun of the rapper who just got killed. And that was a weird situation for me, where I believe we decided not to post it, because it was like, this guy is a nobody. He's A, gonna get himself in trouble because he got a phone in jail apparently, and it ain't like the cops are gonna fucking miss this. And B, he's saying something that is completely detrimental to society. You know, like, I don't think that this rapper deserves to be having his fucking grave shit on right here. And, you know, it's like, those are more like the fringe cases where you have to make a decision, because it's, if there's a video of fucking Lil Baby shitting on his ops, saying some crazy shit about him. Well, I mean, you're a fucking celebrity. This is going to be in the news one way or another because, you know, you were smart enough to make this decision. But a lot of times it's like when it feels like media outlets are just straight posting shit that's just straight poison to the community and it's being done by people who aren't even public figures. I think those are like the more legitimate grievances about that kind of content.